welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're gearing up and trekking across America in search of the 10 deadliest enemies in the Last of Us series. In the post-apocalyptic world of The Last of Us, the infected aren't always the most dangerous thing you can run into. What was your most harrowing encounter in The Last of Us games? Mask up and let us know down in the comments. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Runners, The Last of Us series.
I'm fine.
Guys, get in here!
The girl.
The earliest form of the cordyceps infection, runners are generally those who have only recently been turned. After becoming infected, the spores begin to take control of the body, and the host loses all control over their actions and becomes irrationally violent, alongside increased strength and speed, in addition to having a higher pain tolerance. While not the most dangerous of the infected, they do tend to move and attack in large groups, so it's relatively easy to become overwhelmed, and either be torn apart by the horde, or become infected by one of their many attempts to bite and spread the infection. When possible, it's always best to avoid them entirely, or take them out as quietly as possible, lest you awaken the horde.
Bill, where to? Bill, where?
Anywhere but here.
Give me the hallways, come on. They've broken through.
Fireflies, The Last of Us Part 1.
March him out of here. He tries anything, shoot him.
Just because they're the good guys doesn't mean they can't still be dangerous. The Fireflies have long been fighting against the tyrannical regime of Fedra and hope that by creating a cure for the infection can not only bring an end to the apocalypse, but also free the remaining settlements from Fedra's thumb. Possibly due to their ongoing conflict with what remains of the government, the Fireflies are the most well-equipped enemies Joel encounters in the first game. The Fireflies use militaristic tactics to hunt him throughout St. Mary's, and will quickly flank him and put him on the back foot should he get overwhelmed. Their numbers might be dwindling, but that just makes them all the more desperate in their mission to save the world.
Wait! Let me go. Please.
You just come after her.
Hunters, The Last of Us Part 1.
Are we gonna help him?
Put your seatbelt on, Ellie.
Well, what about the guy?
He ain't even hurt.
As with nearly every apocalyptic event, oftentimes the scariest enemy is whatever remains of the rest of humanity. After 20 years, most people have learned how to survive and deal with the infected, or outright avoid them entirely. While traveling through Pittsburgh, however, Joel and Ellie encounter the worst of what the remnants of humanity have to offer. The hunters relentlessly chase any unlucky travelers who happen into the city looking for supplies, almost taking a sadistic joy in tracking down poor hapless victims. They also have quite the arsenal to back them up, meaning going at them head-on would lead to a very violent and senseless end. If it weren't for David and his cannibals, the hunters would represent the lowest mankind has sunk.
No!
Busy couple of days, huh?
Whatever, man.
WLF, The Last of Us Part 2. Much like the Fireflies, the WLF is a well-equipped, well-organized militaristic faction, and has enough members that they've taken over the majority of Seattle. Although many seem to have joined after the fall of Fedra out of either fear or seeking sanctuary from the dangers of the outside world, many of them feel reminiscent of the Hunters due to their lack of empathy as they relentlessly hunt Ellie and Dina throughout the Seattle city limits. Due to their dismantling of Fedra, they also commandeered much of the government body's arsenal, and have outposts throughout the city and surrounding areas that they maintain and keep well stocked with their numerous convoys. Although clearly not all are equally trained, their impressive arsenal alone makes them a very imposing threat when exploring the flooded coastal city.
You okay?
Never better.
Okay. I think we're in the clear.
Stalkers, The Last of Us series.
Stalkers.
They might only be the second stage of the infection, but they might be more dangerous than even the clickers themselves. The Stalkers have not only all the speed and dexterity of the runners, but also the ferocity of the clickers in one silent package. That's right, these infected are stealth hunters. Unlike the runners, the Stalkers are more cautious, sticking to cover and skittering around the environment until the moment they can strike. Some Stalkers will even begin to lay dormant, slowly allowing the growth of the cordyceps to completely take them over and attach themselves to walls or any other surface they can rest against. It's only when someone or something disturbs their environment that they launch out an attack before once again retreating into the darkness for a follow-up assault. Due to their stealthy approach, it also makes them nearly impossible to detect using listen mode. Seraphites, The Last of Us Part 2. On the complete opposite side of the artillery spectrum are the Seraphites, or Scars. This cult-like group uses more stealth tactics and silenced weapons like bows and blunt melee weapons to hunt outsiders or the WLF encroaching on their territory. The Scars prefer a more ambush-style approach to combat, and instead of calling out positions like the WLF, the Scars use a system of whistles to coordinate their attacks, which makes locating an upcoming ambush nearly impossible without being able to decipher their calls. The Scars' aversion to modern technology also means that many of their structures are crudely built, dimly lit, and maze-like, allowing the Scars to more easily trap any unsuspecting or unwanted guests.
Get the fuck off me!
Bloaters, The Last of Us series. While rare, bloaters occur when the cordyceps infection has years to fester beyond the clicker stage and over time develop into a walking tank, complete with thick armor plating covering the majority of its body. Although not as fast as the clickers, the bloater is far more dangerous as it can shrug off most munitions thrown its way. Unlike many of the other infected, the bloater isn't interested in passing on the virus and will simply rip apart anything in its path with great efficiency. Of the few survival tactics available, maintain distance, but be aware that the bloater will throw globs of toxin when out of range, and they are most susceptible to fire. Shamblers, The Last of Us Part 2. If you ever wondered how dangerous a combination of a clicker and a bloater would be, look no further than the Shambler. A variant of the bloater, the Shambler has much of the same size and ferocity of the aforementioned infected, but lacks the armor plating and increased strength usually associated with the OG bloater. However, what it lacks in dexterity, it makes up for with speed and effective use of the disgusting pustules covering its body, which can spray acid on Ellie or Abby, even exploding in a cloud of poisonous gas upon death. Though they are oftentimes just as slow as the bloaters, when alerted, they can sprint towards any nearby sound. And more often than not, where there's one Shambler, there's usually more around the corner.
Ugh, look at those acid burns. No, I'm good.
Clickers, The Last of Us series. By far one of the most dangerous and feral stages of the infection, what makes the clickers especially dangerous is the one thing they lack: sight. Due to the cordyceps infection completely overtaking their brain, the clicker instead hunts by sound using echolocation and an eerie clicking sound sure to send chills up any survivor's spine. Their prolonged exposure to the infection has also completely changed not only their physical appearance, but also their body's dexterity as well. Unlike the many other forms of infection, besides fire, nothing short of a headshot or shiv to the spine will bring the clicker down. And just like the bloater, getting caught by a clicker is an instant and gruesome death. Rat King, The Last of Us, Part 2. In the overrun and infected world of The Last of Us, describing the Rat King as a living nightmare is by no means hyperbolic. The Rat King is every stage of the infection merging together after decades of undisturbed overgrowth, and is most likely born from some of the earliest infected being locked under quarantine and forgotten. Not only is the Rat King the largest infected ever encountered in the series, it's also by far the most dangerous. With its numerous appendages and armor plating, the best and truly only tactic is to run and maintain a safe distance. Even once it's taken enough damage, the infection refuses to die, and a stalker will tear itself from the huddle for one last chance at catching its prey. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.